we're seeing companies spend more and more every year, and unfortunately, the breaches keep happening. And so we expect right now that this to be a very fruitful career for a long time, and we're seeing it in our business. We have a $2 billion business today, growing double digits.
And what kind of people, by the way, are you hiring for that? Are these all engineers? What kind of
No, in fact,
talent is required?
You know, it's everything from, actually people out of high school or in 2-year degrees to much more sophisticated people who are doing advanced threat intelligence.
Hey, Julie, I wanted to ask you a broader question just about the jobs picture. You deal with so many of the Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies. I think 93 of the Fortune 100 and 70% of the Fortune 500. So you know what's really happening on the ground at these companies. We're watching the jobs picture very closely, and it's been incredibly strong. But do you see any reticence from CEOs, any thoughts that they might pull back on some of their capital expenditures or pull back on some of the hiring, or are they in a position where they have to pay more? These are all things that we're trying to figure out on a daily basis here.
Look, I mean, every industry is in a little bit different place. I mean, we've been seeing the same news about the fight in the retail wages, what Amazon did and what that's going to do. And I think there's a lot of uncertainty right now. You've seen an incremental increase just due to the trade war and that. But I'd say that, every industry is different. What we are seeing, though, is still a very continued big focus on digital transformation, right? Companies saying there's a lot going on in the market. There's a lot of disruption, and we've got to find the ways to cut costs in order to invest to become a digital business.
Meaning that they're still willing to spend capital expenditures when it comes to digital issues, when it comes to these things?
Yeah, we're seeing that still continue.
But what's your gut on the economy? Meaning, as you're having conversations with executives, has something churned? Jim Cramer was on the air last week, said he's had a handful of conversations off the record with CEOs on the phone who've effectively said, you don't understand. It's much worse out there than anybody appreciates. Where do you stand on that?
I think it's too soon to tell, right? I mean, I think there's a gray area. You're hearing a lot of different news. We've been, frankly, we hear both stories. You get the next guest who says, wait, I'm hearing lots of stuff. So I think it is too soon to tell. But what companies today have to do is really plan for what could happen, right? While they're staying focused on their business.
Accenture has you're creating 10 innovation hubs around the country.
That's right.
Where are those going to be? This could be like an HQ2 trial experiment. People are going to be rushing to become one of these innovation hubs. What is that?
Well, if you think about it, half the Fortune 500 in year 2000 no longer exists today. And so the real way to succeed is to become a continuous innovator.
Half of the
Fortune 500 in the year 2000 don't exist today. And
don't exist, like they went
BK, they either merged or they went out of business, and so innovation.
Right.
The key to innovation is accessibility, and it's no longer Silicon Valley, and so it's around the world. So what we've done is we just opened our 9th hub in Seattle. We're opening our 10th in Atlanta. So they're really across the world.
Can we show that map again,
the U.S.
guys? Can we throw that screen up again? Because the other thing I was going to say though is, it's mostly, with the exception there, I imagine maybe that's Chicago, and I guess Michigan, but it's on the coast. It's still a coastal situation.
Columbus, Chicago, Detroit.
Okay.
Right,
so
those are three. Three in the middle. So we think about it in regions, right? So in the southeast, we've got Atlanta and D.C. The northeast is Boston and New York, right? The 3 in the middle. We've got Seattle now and San Francisco. So those, and then we'll open a few more
By the way,
next year.
What do you think of Amazon's decision to go with Long Island City in Virginia? Missed opportunity. I mean, in Virginia you like because you're down there.
We're down there. We're also in New York, right? They're a great partner of ours, and it's obviously going to be bringing jobs.
Final question. You you guys hooked up with Harvard, and you have this study that you guys have done. You know where I'm going with this? Where effectively, my understanding is that you've said that people who go for a 4-year degree, this may actually be a big mistake and is sort of inefficient in terms of the economy these days.
Well, we're seeing a lot of opportunity for 2-year degrees. In fact, we now have an apprenticeship program. We have 150 professional apprentices with 2 years or high school degrees working in tech jobs. We'll have 300 next year. We see that as a real opportunity for the U.S. to do mid-career reskilling and to close the skills gap, as well as bring people who've been left behind.
Do you think it's a mistake for certain people to go for 4 years?
I think that's what
the report seems to suggest.
Yeah, I think it can be a mistake. We do think it can be a mistake.
How do you identify yourself at the moment one to know, actually, I shouldn't really go for a 4-year?
Well, I would go back to your advice to your children, right? In terms of what are the kinds of jobs that are going to be created and what are your interests?
Okay.
Four's better than.
Excuse me?
Four's better than when it takes you 6 or 7.
4 is better than it takes 6 or 7.
I mean, that's really
That
2 credits.
one way to think about it.
2 courses every semester.
Right. Julie Sweet.
Tuesday and Thursday.
Thank you very, very much. CEO, North American CEO of Accenture. Appreciate it this morning.